Let's take a more detailed look at the situation on the ground now. And we're joined by Air Marshal Edward Stringer. Edward, thanks a lot for joining us again this afternoon. So what is the situation broadly on the ground in Ukraine?
Yeah, I think Kherson is the big story at the moment. And we've seen even the Russians saying over the last couple of weeks how they're pulling out their civilians from Kherson, which, remember, they claimed to have annexed only on the 29th of September 3 weeks ago. But overnight, the Ukrainian General Staff has pointed out that they are tracking now the Russians beginning to withdraw their most valuable military equipment, a sure sign that they are planning to give up their hold on the West Bank. And that's going to be difficult. A fighting withdrawal is a difficult thing to do. Would you want to be the last person out of the territory or across that bridge? Difficult to do, requires committed troops, very good command and control, things we haven't seen from the Russian army. And I suspect the Ukrainians are going to make life very difficult for them and try and turn that into a rout. It would mean that Russia gives up the only major city it's captured in Kherson, and it leaves it then failing once again on the battlefield with indulging instead in these terrorist tactics we've seen recently, using the so-called suicide drones against infrastructure targets or the civilian population, all of which is, of course, war crimes.
So that's Kherson, the Dnieper River, that's where all the bridges are that they're trying to get across. Are there any bridges actually still standing there?
Yeah, there are two bridges. There's the main road bridge into Kherson, and then if you go up the river, there's a bridge across the dam at Novokharkovka. And those are the only two major crossing points, and the Ukrainians have been hitting both of those in recent months with HIMARS and other precision rockets.
And now talk us through what you know or what anyone knows about these accusations by Volodymyr Zelensky that the Russians are preparing to blow up a dam at a hydroelectric plant.
That is the Novokharkovka Dam, which is 2 miles long. It's a major dam supplying hydroelectric power. The Russians are claiming that the Ukrainians are going to attack it. Ukrainians, I think, much more plausibly saying that's the Russians setting things up for a false flag operation. So
that's what they're saying, that they're going to blow, and that dam is going to, if it did, it would flood the valley, I assume.
Well, you can see how big that lake is. Really, it's more than a lake. It's an inland sea, and all that water would flood into the southern area of Kherson, not just the city, but the whole of the Kherson province, and create widespread destruction. It would be a major war crime.
But do you think they'd do it, though?
I don't. I think they have mined the bridge as part of their terror campaign to try and shock people so that they will negotiate with the Russians and give them what they want, what the Russian army can't win for them on the battlefield. But the real reason I think they won't do it is because that's the source of the water that's piped through to Crimea. And so it'd be a big shot in the foot for the Russians to take out their sole water supply to the peninsula of Crimea itself.